Yeah, coming with grammar from the southwest manner. When man are quick to cock back on the hammer and open up a canner. When parcels shoot fast, quick to boot past the bully them as they pass and just laugh. Out on the earner trying to further profit merger. This ain't genocide or mass murder, just a stash to turner. Built into two and two into three until I'm sitting back sipping yak, generating G's, smoking trees, whistling sweet harmonies without ecstasy or MD. Even though chemically they're good friends to me, in the laurels of my mind's infinite melody, terrorized by the sunrise, locked jaw and widened eyes, all pits, blue lips, my jeans hang loose on my hips, cheap thrills or deep trips until my mind ticks from my heart's kick on my chest. Coke for the come down so I can rest, wake up feeling depressed unless I pressed, in that case refresh, next link a draw and get blessed off the cess and think of lots instead of less. Yeah, yours is as good as my guess, why I'm feeling oppressed on the level that's next. Rebel to the architect, design a paper chain round my neck, hung from the 31st step. Scientific projects teach to accept nothing more, nothing less but the press, able to ingest so we digress, trapped in the corner of a cage like a tigress, protective over young. When it's youngers who roll with guns, who need protection from the inner city slums, with bullets budging bums, generating funds red as blood as it runs, hands stained when the time come. Magistrate call for justice to be done, or not to be, especially if you don't agree with judiciary. That's tertiary and deepened by hypocrisy. As I set my soul free, no longer a roll number in the system that's digitally imprisoned me with precision and false prophecy. I'm an ulcer in the belly of the beast, on its black heart I feast to increase peace and deplete the leasehold. Young to the old, I'm a baron standing bold, free man on the land, no other man has a hold on bonds sold, funding wars round the globe, collateral for damage, watch the system implode from an economic probe, force like atomic payloads, that payloads trident, weapon of choice for the devil and Poseidon. I'm traveling, not driving, and don't stand under proclamations you're providing, cause I'm alive and not lost beyond the sea. Acknowledge me as appear to thee, as the absolute appears to me in totality, without Aryanism inside a prism like prison. Africans weren't the only slaves sold in colonialism. Pieces of the puzzle start fitting, spitting the forbidden words that were burnt and never rewritten, but still on a divine grapevine if you take time to listen. Yeah, never be dismissing as conspiracies or just pure breeze. Fuck that shit, we need to release and move peace.
Sam, why don't you introduce yourself a second?
Well, okay man, well I'm Sam, I've lived in London all my life pretty much, and I've been on planet Earth this time for like 21 years, so it's been a great time, been a good ride so far, I've really enjoyed it. It's gonna get better, man, better every day.
Alright, so why don't you tell us how you woke up? How did you first come across the alternative information?
Well, I suppose as when I was a lot younger, when I was a kid and stuff, I was very aware and I knew things, and I sort of, I had inclinations about the way the world was, but of course as a kid you're sort of told that to accept everybody else's point of view as your own, and so you don't listen to that inner voice telling you this is the way it is and you can create with your mind and all this sort of stuff. And so I just ambled on through life. I had a pretty turbulent childhood, I guess, like lots of sort of dramas and stuff like that. Went through the care system and all craziness, which sort of allowed me to see the world in different perspectives at a very young age, and allowed me to enter different social environments and stuff. So I was pretty well healed in social activity and stuff from a young age, and interacting in different environments with different people and stuff like that. So and that's been a great help because I'm good at communicating now and stuff. So and then I suppose I got expelled from like all the schools and stuff like that. I was a bit of a terror really, and I ended up sort of leaving proper school at like age 13 and just dossing around streets and stuff like that until I eventually found the use of the information on the internet, and started looking into stuff, YouTube videos and stuff at first, sort of entertaining, and then as you get into it, you progress and you start wanting to learn more about it. And through going through all the conspiracies and stuff, I've ended up teaching myself, law, science, history, everything at, at university levels, So, and then just...
So what was the first big theme you came across in this whole conspiracy, alternative media?
The first big alternative media source, I guess, has to have been Alex Jones and Bill Hicks, obviously, and stuff like that. That sort of alternative ideas and stuff. But the first big thing that really hit home was 9/11 and all that sort of stuff. Was just like, what the fuck, man, it doesn't make any sense at all, right? I'm not. I haven't been through your indoctrination system long enough for you to chat shit, and I accept it basically. So, that was just. It's just sort of out there, mad how any of that is still sort of questioned. But and that sent the alarm bells ringing, and so through accepting that, I started looking more into deeper, conspiracies or historical events actually, and. Finding out that this is a repeated pattern that's been going on for if you look in the history books for ages, and our sort of history lineage is very limited compared to what the apparent history of the Earth is. So we basically you end up I learned a lot about the reptilians and stuff like that, and I didn't really believe it. I didn't say I don't believe it, but I didn't believe it because there was no sort of proof of it from my sitting point. And then I suppose I got distracted from it all, got into, being a real person, like job and stuff like that, girlfriend, flat, all the rest of it. And I just thought, fuck this, man, that's really not for me. And then started looking and digging again and searching, and then I dug up the common law stuff. And that shit blew me away, man. Because, it's the biggest lie that's ever been told, like everyone in this country, people could say what they like about the information from conspiracies and stuff because you're not there, you're not investigating it yourself, so you can't really do that. But the common law stuff, you can pick it up, you can touch it, you can feel it, and you can find out the truth for yourself. And when you sort of see that shit, it's like, wow. And it blows the floodgates open to those things that I'd questioned before, and it was like, well, there's a big possibility of all this, Illuminati and the bloodlines running the planet and stuff like that. Because I could get my head around the globalist agenda, but the bloodlines and all that was still very hazy. And then, through waking up for that, a couple of weeks after that, I went to Avebury, which is a spiritual centre in England.
Just shortly, what was your most interesting experience using the common law stuff?
So far, I'm still I'm getting a van soon, and I've been sort of deliberating about doing the common law stuff for it. I'm not sure yet. I'm still haven't decided, and I don't think I'm, as educated in it as I can be. There's a lot more research that I could do into, I know the basic principles and stuff, but it's a lot different putting it to good use and stuff. I've used the common law stuff a lot with police, and they don't particularly like being told what to do, but you just have to reassure them that you're not trying to tell them what to do. You're telling them what you've got to do. I'm telling them what my rights are and what my standpoint is in a situation and stuff, and that's really empowering. Do you know what I mean? Because then you don't have to blindly accept the authority telling you this is how it is, because you know how it is, and their lies and intimidation tactics can't affect you anymore because you know point blank on the piece of paper what it says and stuff. So common law is a very useful tool, and I think people need to start sort of picking it up a bit more and getting a bit more serious about it, and especially with offsetting debts and stuff like that, because it's just it's fake money, and I'm sure everyone knows about that whole system. It's crazy. So
we're talking about you over the common law, getting more into bloodlines, so on.
Yeah. So I basically started accepting that stuff as a lot more possible than what I did before, because the way certain stuff's written in the Charter of Rights, it mentions the spiritual realm that we're living in, and these are the laws and blah blah blah. So it's like it opens your floodgates to what else they could be lying to you about, because everybody has a birth certificate, everybody functions in that system. So it's very easy to see how if they're lied to about all of that and you figured that out, what's the other possibilities that could be figured out. And I guess so I started looking at that seriously, and I had a few sort of crazy dreams, if you like, that pointing me in certain directions on, you know, where to take my search next and stuff.